I'm Jamie.
And I'm Joanna Burns.
And we want to share you guys the story of Janalynn.
When I was 20 years old, I found I was pregnant. I was living in Tennessee at the time, and I decided to move back to Indiana with my parents. By the time I went to the doctor for my first checkup, it was too late to take the testing to see if my child would have Down syndrome. Throughout the pregnancy, everything went great. Her heartbeat was strong, didn't show any signs of any complications. Even her ultrasounds were fine. She was also born with a cleft lip and cleft palate, and that was not shown in any of the ultrasounds. 6 weeks before my due date, I went in for a checkup. While I was on my checkup, she wanted to check me and see how everything was going. She asked me if I was having any back pains or leg pains, and I said I was having slight pains. She told me I was in labor. I was in premature labor. She said I was already 3 centimeters dilated and that I could have her at any time. I was in a panic because Jamie was in Tennessee and I was in Indiana, and I called him right away. He ended up coming to Indiana 4 days later.
About 4 days, yeah.
4 days later, and we spent a couple days together. A week from my appointment, something wasn't right. She wasn't moving. She was a very active baby all throughout my pregnancy, and I woke up one morning and she wasn't moving at all. I decided to take a shower to see if I could try and wake her up, and she still didn't move. So I went to my mom's work, and she ended up calling the doctor, and they told us to go ahead and come into the hospital. I was already 6 centimeters dilated at that time, so they went ahead and kept me, and they gave me my epidural. We were in labor for 6 hours. We stayed the whole night, and at 8:30 in the morning she decided she was ready to come out. She broke my water, and I yelled at Jamie, and he got my mom and my friend Tori, and it just went really fast from there. She was born at around 9:30 a.m. and when they handed her to me, I noticed quite a few things with her. First thing that really stuck out to me was her cleft lip and cleft palate. And for me, that was really hard. I think that was the biggest struggle I had. Growing up, I always saw the commercials with kids with cleft lip and cleft palate, and as guilty as this sounds, I did not want to have a child with that. But God decided to challenge me and gave her to me. I also noticed that she looked like she had Downs. I saw it in her eyes, and I didn't want to deal with that right then and there. I wanted to wait for the doctors to tell me. I didn't want to ask questions.
My reaction when I first saw her anyway, was just more of a wow. Like, I was not expecting this at all, and I didn't know what to think. But I'm definitely not one to back down from a challenge, and I saw that as a challenge, and I knew that we could overcome it. And I knew that in time, as long as I played my cards right and worked hard, that everything would work out okay.
She was born 5 pounds 6.8 ounces and 18 1/4 inches long. She was put on oxygen right away, and later that day they came in and told us that there were signs of Down syndrome. They said her heart wasn't as strong as they would like, and with kids with Down syndrome come a lot of heart complications, and they were afraid that she would have some. They heard a murmur, so they had us lined up to go to St. Vincent's the next day. So the next day they rushed her to St. Vincent, where we spent a whole month there. They ended up telling us quite a few things, which the main thing they told us was about her heart.
Janalynn was born with 4 heart defects. The combination of the 4 is called tetralogy of Fallot. I don't know the details of all 4, but the main one was the vessel
that pumps blood to her lungs.
Yeah, was shrinking, and it was reducing her oxygen saturation. So without that, she was having these TET spells, or with that she was having these TET spells to where she would turn blue from just head to toe, and she was just in pain. She was just screaming. It lasts probably 5 to 7 minutes, and then she'd calm down and she'd come back to natural color.
Jamie stayed with us at the NICU for a week until he had to go back home to Tennessee because he had to work. Janalynn and I stayed at the NICU for a month, and then we finally got released to go home. And we had regular doctor's appointments and everything, and got all her shots up until late May. In April, Jamie transferred jobs to Indiana so he could come live with us. In May was when Janalynn first started having her TET spells. They started out really small. Yes. They started out really small and would only last a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds. Come June was when they started getting really bad. We ended up calling the ambulance one night, and they took us to the local hospital, and they got her oxygen levels back up. But it wasn't until June 12th, 2011 was when she had her big TET spell. I was at work and Jamie was in Fort Wayne, and she was staying with my mom. My mom called me at work and said that Janalynn had been blue for over an hour and she didn't know what to do. So I called her cardiologist, and they told us to go to the local hospital. So we went to Marion General Hospital, and her oxygen levels were down to 9%, barely getting any oxygen. So they put her on oxygen and they sent us straight to Peyton Manning Hospital, where she had her first heart surgery. She had her first heart surgery June 13th, 2011. It was a very long waiting period. What they did is they ended up putting a shunt in her vessel to make the vessel bigger. It was a temporary fix, something that would keep, because they didn't want to do the complete fix until she was older and bigger, because this was an open heart surgery which had a lot of risks. She came out of the heart surgery fine. We went in there, and for about an hour they kept trying to get her oxygen levels back up, but they were still under 75%. So that night they went in and put in a bigger shunt. So within one day she went through 2 open heart surgeries, and she came out fine. It was really hard to see her because for a whole week she did not wake up. She was on a breathing machine for 1 whole week. Without movement or opening her eyes or making any noise. After about a week, she woke up finally, gradually. She opened her eyes, still wasn't really moving, but she opened her eyes and was looking at us. We were in the hospital for about a month again. It's okay. We were in the hospital for about a month. They wanted to make sure that her incision was healing correctly and that she was eating okay and that her oxygen levels were above 90%. We always knew that she would have low oxygen levels, so anytime she would go to the doctor, we'd always have to tell them that 90-85% is okay. Everything was going well. Finally, and about 2 months later, she ended up having her first lip surgery, which went really great. Completely different surgery and a different outcome. It's a shorter surgery, and we got to go home in about 2 or 3 days after that surgery. It was very quick. And she was eating fine, and she did a lot better with that. Even during the surgery, her oxygen levels stayed up very well, and they had a cardiologist on site just in case if something did happen to her heart. That year we got to have her first Thanksgiving and first Christmas, which was a lot of fun. After Christmas, she started having TET spells again that January. They weren't really bad until about the end of January, and come February we finally went to the cardiologist, and they said that her oxygen levels were 75% or below again. So they decided to schedule her surgery and actually correct the whole heart. So we went in February 9th to get her 3rd heart surgery. They went in, they fixed it, and they said everything went very well. She actually woke up the next day. It was a quicker recovery. She did great. I think we left a week to 2 weeks later after that, got home in time for her birthday, her first birthday. The only thing that we were having problems with was she was in a lot of pain. She wouldn't eat. We even had her on all of her pain medicine and it wouldn't stop. She was constantly crying and constantly uncomfortable, wouldn't sleep through the nights or anything. Finally went into the doctor after her first birthday and went back into the cardiologist, and she said there was fluid around her heart left over from the surgery. So they put her on on some medicine to help reduce the fluid. A couple weeks later, we went back in to check it, and there was barely any fluid, and she was doing a lot better. Her cardiologist said that the fluid will reduce in time, but that she didn't need to keep taking the medicine anymore. After that, she didn't have any surgeries for a while, and everything was going great. Then they decided to schedule her palate surgery, which was August 16th, 2012. That one was a little different than her lip, but still was a quicker surgery and a fast recovery. They pulled her palate together from the back to the front like a zipper, and she did great. And she ate fine after that, didn't have any problems, and yeah.
I moved from Indiana October of 2012 to get everything ready and settled here in Tennessee for Joanna and Janalynn, and it was a crazy process being distant. Yeah, for 6 months, and then in May, after finding a really good job and finding a good home, we got all settled down in May and moved in May 16th.
This year we ended up having her second lip surgery, which was September 25th. Basically it was to align her lip better. They didn't like how it was growing. It was more of a cosmetic thing than an actual need. We were okay with it. It wasn't something we were that excited about, but in the long run it'll help out later with how her lip will heal and grow. We stayed in the hospital for about 2 days and got to come home, and everything's been going well since then. She has started preschool, has been getting involved with group therapies and playing with other kids and learning how to be around other children. She may not have to have any more surgeries on her cleft lip and cleft palate. That'll all depend on how, when she grows, how it affects her lip and her palate. There is risk of her palate separating a little bit more, and I know that her plastic surgeon is watching her lip to make sure that it's growing straight and correctly. She may have to have another heart surgery when she's about 8 years old. When we started coming here to the cardiologist here in Nashville, he did an ultrasound on her heart just to see how it was doing, and he noticed a slight leak in the vessel again. He said it's not a huge risk right now, that her oxygen levels are still okay, but as she grows, the tear could get bigger, and that'll be something that we'll have to watch out for, and watch out for more TET spells, because that would be a signal that it's tearing more. With different responses with Janalynn, we've had a lot of positive and we've had a few negatives with her. With her being so young, it's been, I know I really don't have to worry about bullying yet. That is one thing that I worry about as a mom, I guess. But we've had more positive responses than we have negative. We had, for her first birthday, I posted a picture on Facebook and it got over 135,000 likes and over 700 shares. On my Facebook, I had over 200 messages in my inbox from people around the world telling us how beautiful our daughter is and how inspirational our story is, and as young parents, how inspirational we are to other young parents. We've had a lot of support from friends and family, them helping us out financially, especially during her surgeries. I know we had a lot of people give us gift cards for food and gas cards, because that was the main thing that we struggled with then, is because Jamie was driving back and forth to work and staying with us in the hospital, which is a 2-hour drive from the hospital. So we had a lot of support from a lot of people just giving us gift cards and money to help out. We had a lot of visitors come in, and just a lot of positive responses. I say we've only really had 2 negative responses with Janalynn. I had a girl message me on Facebook telling me that it was disgusting and upsetting that I would post pictures of my daughter from surgery, and that I was a bad mother because of that, and that really hurt a lot and affected me a lot. We also had a Facebook page that was made about Janalynn. They had memes made of her. This is nothing that I had really been exposed to until having Janalynn. It was very sad. I know Jamie was pretty...
was very upset about it. They would, without going into detail, they basically just took a picture of her and they put captions on the top and bottom, just making fun of Down syndrome or Janalynn. So.
Those are about the only bad responses we've had about Janalynn, and I know as a mother, it's something that I'm going to have to prepare myself for as she gets older and going to school. But this is one reason why we want to have these events, is we want to get the word out that they are God's children. They are wonderful. They can do just as much as any normal person. The only thing that they have different than us is an extra chromosome. That doesn't make them different from us. It makes them special. We like to call her chromosome the love chromosome. We're really good friends with Julie Tennant, who has Down syndrome, and these are her shirts. These are the ones that she made. She calls them the love chromosome, because people and kids with Down syndrome are the most loving people you'll ever meet. I mean, you go up to one of them and they'll give you a hug. I've had multiple people tell me that her hugs just make their day. If you're having a bad day, take Janalynn for about 5 minutes and she'll make your day so much better. The only things we're going through right now with Janalynn is her therapies and school. She loves preschool. She loves going to therapy sometimes. She's very bullheaded and does not want to walk on her own yet, but she does really good with therapy. She's taking speech therapy, OT, physical therapy, and she does a group therapy, and she's doing tremendous in all of them. And she loves people, she loves kids, and she's, I don't know how to finish this.
Social butterfly. So. We appreciate you guys coming out and taking the opportunity to listen to Janalynn's story. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.
Can you say bye-bye?
Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Say bye.
Months, 8 days, my wife and I had waited, getting ready for our baby girl. But when he called, the doctor said, I need to see you, and could you come in soon? And something died inside of me to sit with him and hear test that said our baby may not live to be a year. And turning to my wife, he said, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to give her the world, I want to hold her hand, I want to be her mom. spend each day watching every minute and praying for our baby girl. And I will not forget the way I felt that moment when she came into this world. But they took her from the room just as soon as she was born. And watching through a window, I could see her holding on, when a voice inside me said, I wanna give her the world, I wanna be her dad, I wanna hold her close for as long as I can, and I wanna live every moment until that day comes. I wanna show her what it means to be loved. Well, ever since the day we got to bring her home, she's been out to prove the doctors wrong. Oh, you should see her now. She's as pretty as her mom. And there's a boy at the front door waiting just to take her to her high school prom. And he wants to give